Mime! Mr. Mime!
This is Mr. Mime. Well, yeah, okay, all right.
Geez,
Yeah,
this is long.
It is.
Oh, wow, it's only... Okay, that's not that many words. It just looks like a lot.
Yeah, it just looks like a lot. It's not too bad.
Angst / horror.
Yeah.
Basically, Ash goes insane.
Yeah, this is great. Yeah, that's how I picked it. I was like, wait, okay, I'm going for this. All right, so this one's called Your Time, and it's by Gnome Hell, which I assume is how you say it. So, thank you, Gnome Hell, for writing this delightful piece.
12 years ago.
His descriptor is basically Ash goes insane. Ash looked up at his clock. It was 2 a.m. Yeah, Lily had found it hard to get to sleep. He couldn't just stop thinking about her. Misty, his one true love. Yeah, how do you say that? Like,
Lovey.
Love-E?
Love.
There's a lot of E's on this one. I'm not even gonna count them. There's
like
a lot.
7.
Like, yeah, more than necessary. He sighed, got out of bed, and walked into the hallway. Oh, sorry, Misty said as she walked into Ash. Oh, hey, Misty. What are you doing up? Sorry, what are you ding up so late? Ash asked, slightly blushing at the sight of Misty in her
As the sight of Misty
in her little pajamas. It's so hot, I was going to get a soda or something. You? She replied. Well, I just couldn't sleep. What is that? Why is there a dash in the middle of this? Safe. Let's go get a...
Why does it say safe?
I don't know. Let's go get a drink or whatever. Okay. They both made their way downstairs, Misty gripping Ash's arm, as she is scared of the dark. Ash not minding at all, of course. As they traveled closer towards the living room, they heard a series of grunts and moans. What the fuck? Question asked. Misty shrugged and opened...
Question asked. I wish it said that.
Ash questioned. Misty shrugged and opened the door to the living room. Misty screamed as she looked up in horror before their eyes. Her boyfriend. How could he do this? But his mother. He must have been feeling even worse. Brock and Mrs. Ketchum, naked, sweaty bodies were entwined as one completely involved and unaware of their spectators. They carried on grunting and moaning as Ash quickly dragged the frozen Misty away from the horror. She immediately burst into tears as soon as Ash shut the door, as did Ash when they got up to the room. I'm gonna fucking kill her, I swear. She's always fucking messing everything fucking up for me. Last time she tore Jesse and James apart, and now she's torn you two apart. I just can't deal with this shit anymore. I added shit. Ash cried angrily. Calm down, Ash. But I know how you feel. He said,
very slow, creepy laugh. he
said he loved me. Misty cried and burst into a fresh flood of tears. Ash held Misty in his arms and squeezed her tight. Don't worry, Misty. This'll all be over soon. I promise, Ash said bitterly. Downstairs, Brock and Mrs. Ketchum had finished and were talking exhaustedly about everything, wondering what to do if Ash had ever found out. Little did they know, he already had. We must never tell anyone. I don't want to corrupt my son's mind, said Mrs. Ketchum. I thought I loved Misty, but then I met you. I love you so much I can't describe or show it, cried Brock. Well, sorry, Brock. This is great and everything, but I can't love you. I will never be able to. But Brock looked like he was about to cry. I'm sorry, said Mrs. Ketchum, kissing Brock on the forehead and going up to her room. Brock collapsed in a heap of tears and cried himself to sleep. Ash watched over Misty as she slept. He wanted to stop her hurting, but could not think of a way to do that, kissing her on the cheek as he got up. He went downstairs to sort things out forever. That's important, remember, forever. He made his way to the kitchen as quietly as possible and withdrew a 9-inch knife from the drawer. He couldn't believe he was doing this again. He had pills and intense therapy to sort this out, but every time something went wrong, he always turned to this. He rolled up his sleeve and looked down at his scarred arm. Silently, he took the knife and slashed his arm deeply with it. Once more, returning to his old ways, he slashed away at his arm more and more until his arm was just a sea of red blood dripping onto the floor. He quickly took a bandage out from the drawer below where he took the object, which continued to haunt him. He washed his arm and bandaged it before cleaning the knife. Quickly looking in the living room, he saw that Brock was just there sleeping by himself. Bringing the knife with him upstairs, he went into his mother's bedroom. Seeing that his mother was sleeping on her back, Ash quickly made his way over to her and brought the knife out from behind his back.
Why was he hiding it behind his back?
Yeah, that's a good question. Whatever. He started stabbing his mother in the face, stabbing her eyeballs out, and stabbing her straight through her cheeks. That's gross, man.
Mm-hmm. She didn't wake up?
So gross. Yes, that's the part I don't understand, because we'll get to that, but I don't understand why she doesn't wake up from this. She's not like wincing and all right. Then he quickly slit her throat before starting to panic about what he had just done. He'd completely lost control of himself and was now pacing around in a circle, wondering what to do. Eventually, he just placed the knife in his mother's hand and writing a fake suicide note, hoped that the police, when they eventually found her, would think that she had just turned schizophrenic and just killed herself.
Now I will stab myself in the face repeatedly.
And this suicide note, oddly written in my son's handwriting. That's nothing, right?
Standard open shut case of suicide. Woman writes a suicide note with the handwriting of a 10-year-old boy, stabs himself in the face.
You want to get a coffee? Yeah, let's go get a coffee.
What is this, Springfield Cops?
Yeah, seriously. It was, in brackets, ironically, a bright and intensely hot day.
Why is that ironic?
Yeah, what is ironic about bright and intensely hot? Okay. Misty was in the kitchen reading at the table. Brock's heart sunk when he saw her. Last night was just so wrong and surreal. He thought that night was nothing, but Mrs. Catchum mattered. Not even Misty mattered, until today. She looked so beautiful to him. Her amazing red hair, her bright blue eyes. He felt like dirt. Brock slowly made his way back to the table and sat down. "Hey, Mist," Brock asked nervously. "Hello," she answered coldly, not even lifting her eyes from the book. "Aren't you even gonna look at me?" Brock asked. Misty cautiously raised her eye and stared at Brock, her eyes full of hurt. Brock stared back, but he just couldn't compete with those intense blue eyes. Misty was getting extremely pissed off. She picked up her book and threw it angrily at him. "How could you just waltz in here and pretend like everything's the same?" Brock was taken back. How did she know? Was she even talking about the same thing as he thought? "What are you talking about, Misty?" Brock also stood up. They were now both standing with only the table between them. Misty picked up her breakfast plate and threw it at Brock's face, barely missing. "You know what I'm talking about! You!" She picked up the ashtray and threw it at him. "And that woman!" Brock quickly ducked the ashtray.
Ash's mom's a heavy smoker. Ashtrays all over the place.
Yeah, well, maybe, considering that apparently she's a bit of a whore. Brock quickly ducked as the ashtray came hurling straight at his face this time, just catching it on the side of his head. "Ow, ow, 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 ow! Misty, please!" Misty just broke down. "You said you loved me! You said you'd never cheat on me or do anything to hurt me! You said we'd always be together! How could you do this to me, Brock?" She fell on the floor and Brock held her in his arms. "It meant nothing to me, Misty. I love you. I always will. It was a stupid mistake, and I'm sorry," Brock pleaded. Misty looked up at Brock. "Really?" Brock nodded and his eyes began to well up. "Will you take me back, please, Misty?" Misty stood up and backed away from Brock. No. I just can't trust you anymore. First Julie, then Sarah, and now that an older woman. How do you think this makes me feel? I'm not going to compete for my own boyfriend. Not anymore." Misty walked out of the kitchen, leaving Brock speechless.
Brock cheated on her with 3 different women?
Bursting into tears. Yeah, what a player. And when did he say, "I'm never gonna cheat on you"? Was it before or after those women?
Why was Misty like Shia LaBeoufing back there? No. I can't trust you anymore.
Let's read on.
Okay. Also, this is the second story so far where they made Ash's mom like a whore.
Yes.
It was implied in the first one. We're just like, oh, she's a porn star.
I've completely lost control of the story.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. I've lost the plot, literally.
No, wait. Oh, yeah, go back.
I found it. Don't worry, guys, we'll get there. Misty ran past Ash in a flood of tears.
In flood of tears.
It's hard when they're written so like this. I want to read them correctly. Misty, what's wrong? Misty, please talk to me. Ash pleaded, grabbing Misty by the wrist, accidentally showing a flash of red open wounds on his pale white skin, dragging her into his bedroom. What's that? Misty asked, shocked. It's, nothing, Ash said quickly, putting his hand behind his back. No! This isn't fair. You promised me you'd never do it again. Why are you doing this to yourself? Why? Because it's the only way I can deal with everything. But sometimes, I just lose control and get completely out of my head. I don't like what I do to myself, Misty. But it's the only way. Please understand that. Ash said, starting to cry again. I do understand, but I just can't stand seeing you do this to yourself. All three, no space. I period. Love you, Ash, Misty said, embarrassed. Same thing. Love you too, Misty. I've loved you for ages, but I never knew how hot to tell you. I was that the first time. Especially seeing you. Holy shit. Especially seeing as you seem to be in love with my now ex best friend. I never really loved him. He always cheated on me, and I suppose that this was really the last straw. I know, always stealing all the girls I liked, me, always forgiving him. It's always the last straw for my mother as well. How could she just go and do this to me? I love you, Misty. I love you too, Ash. Both Ash and Misty were both tearful but happy, hugging each other in the acknowledgement of their love. They turned to look at each other with loving eyes, Misty accidentally brushing Ash's arm, sending pain shooting up it, reminding him of his anger towards his murdered mother and Brock. How could Brock hurt a precious, vulnerable girl so much? I'll, be back in a minute, Ash said anxiously. Where are you going, dear? Out of nowhere. It's just dear now. Just to get a drink. Ash quickly ran to his mother's room, and there she was lying on the blood-stained sheets with a knife in her hand. She must have died as soon as Ash slit her throat, seeing as she hadn't moved at all. That's the part that gets me! He stabs her in the face a bunch of times. Mm-hmm. Very descriptive. But she must have died after the... I don't understand.
Like, you get stabbed in the eye. Unless that 9-inch knife goes all the way to the back of your skull, you're probably going to wake up like, ah!
Yeah. Where was I? The blood from the slashes on her face still fresh. The blood still scarlet red, like wounds on his own arm, which had ceased to stop bleeding. Not seemed, seized. I don't understand that, but cool. Quickly shutting the door again, making sure that no one saw him go in there, he made his way downstairs to find Brock. He was still angry, and nothing so far seemed to get rid of his anger. As soon as he saw Brock and caught his eye, he just charged at him and threw a punch into his face. Immediately, blood spurted from his nose and started to flow down his face and onto his white shirt. Brock went to punch Ash, not realizing that his nose was bleeding so much. Ash ducked just in time and kicked at Brock's ankle, sending him crashing to the floor. As soon as Brock hit the floor, Ash jumped on top of him, pounding his chest until he was completely out of breath.
He's fighting like a gorilla now.
Yeah, seriously. Don't mess with me or my friends again, or I'll fucking kill you next time, Ash shouted angrily, spitting on Brock as he walked out of the room. Back upstairs to Misty. What took you so long? Misty inquired. I just had to sort something out, dear. Now he's using it.
Yeah.
Ash answered, rubbing his bruised knuckles. You didn't beat Brock up, did you? I couldn't help it, Mist. I just have all this anger inside of me, and I just don't know how to get rid of it. I hate Brock and what he's done to you. And me, I just wanted him to see how much he's hurt us. Misty went over to Ash and hugged him while he started crying. It's okay, dear. Everything will be fine soon. Trust me. Misty reassured him, kissing him on the forehead. I know, Misty. I just want to get out of here now. I just want to get out of here for a while. I need a break from all this. I wanted to get out of here as well. I can't face seeing Brock every day. Why don't we go somewhere like Cerulean? They would never come there. We could start over again, just you and me. Okay, Mist. Anything for you. We'll leave in the morning then. That night, Ash and Misty fell asleep in each other's arms, ready to begin their new lives together the next day. And you'd think the story would be over, but no. Here gets to crazy shit.
Finally, it gets kind of interesting here.
Mr. Mime woke up inside Mrs. Ketchum's cupboard. Something weird was going on. He hadn't been woken up or fed in the last day. Mrs. Ketchum would never forget her love slave. Something must have happened to her. Mr. Mime carefully climbed out of the cupboard, trying not to make noise in case Mrs. Ketchum was actually asleep. There was a weird smell on the other side of the cupboard door, like a rotting corpse or something. He slowly wandered around the room, looking for Mrs. Ketchum. Someone must have spilled red wine on the cream carpet. There was a big stain underneath the bed. Maybe Mrs. Ketchum drank too much wine and spilt the rest on the floor when she collapsed onto the bed. Mr. Mime decided to climb up onto the bed, just to check on her. He caught sight of her face, with dried blood on it, and blacked out. When he came around a few hours later, he looked up at his beloved, blood-stained mistress, and quickly rushed to her side. Mime! He said angrily, bursting into tears. Mr. Mime! Mime! Mr. Mime! He cried. Mr. Mime then caught sight of the knife in Mrs. Ketchum's hand and saw the note on the bedside table. Mime! Why would she kill herself? Mr. Mime thought. Mr. Mime ran to Ash to tell him. Ash would be devastated. He ran out into the garden, back into the kitchen, upstairs once again, and he tripped over some books. Mime! He mumbled in pain. Mime! Mime! Was this a diary? Mime knew not to go into people's private things, but maybe it was a clue or something to help Mr. Mime understand Mrs. Ketchum's pain. Ash was taking a short nap in his room while Misty went out. He got up and went to get his diary. He liked to reflect and put down his feelings into his little book.
Your diary.
Killed my mom,
stabbed my mom in the face.
Both eyes! But where did he put it?
Oh, my.
Mr. Mime put the diary down, totally taken aback. He ran into the cupboard again. That bastard, murdering shit. He killed his own mother and Mr. Mime's world. He would get revenge somehow. Ash needed to be punished. Ash was in the kitchen at 3 a.m. with Dinah. No, Ash is in the kitchen with Dinah. Alright, fine, whatever. Ash was at the kitchen at 3 a.m. It was late, but he had so much on his mind and just couldn't sleep. Mr. Mime walked into the kitchen, Ash unaware that he knew about his mother. Yo, Mr. Mime! Mime! Said threatening Ash. What? Ash asked, but Mr. Mime hit him over the head with a frying pan, knocking him unconscious and dragging him aside. Mime! Mr. Mime! Mr. Mime cackled! Then Mr. Mime strangled Ash with his own hands, squeezing as hard as he could, just hoping Ash would die.
Wait. Like with his hands or with Ash's hands?
Yeah, one of those.
Strangled Ash with his
One of those for sure.
Okay.
He then proceeded to kick and mutilate Ash as much as he could, not caring if he was caught. He hated Ash so much. Mime! Mr. Mime had finally finished. Ash, in an unidentifiable state at the moment, bruised, black and blue, with open wounds pouring with fresh blood. Misty ran as fast as he could, not exactly sure where to, but she needed to get help quickly. Misty found herself at Professor Oak's door, screaming hysterically, What? It's 5 a.m. for peace sake! Oak mumbled irritably as he opened the door to Misty. Please, she begged, sobbing, you gotta help me. Yeah, you gotta catch them all. Who says gotta? What's going on? Come inside.
That's the link. That's what makes this Pokemon.
What's going on? Come inside. Oak instructed. There is no more to this story. It just ends there.
How did Misty? Why was she going there?
I don't even know, man. The thing I want to figure out, like, how did nobody like give a damn that like Ash's mom was just straight up like gone for a day? Like, they know that she was there, and they're just like, oh, whatever. We'll just live our day like nothing happened.
And, like, what happened to Brock after Ash beat him up? Was he just unconscious there for the rest of the day and night? Or did he get up and like, leave? Or did he just, like, go have lunch?
I see I'm not wanted here.
Wait, that happened...
I'm gonna go soak.
That happened right after breakfast, right?
I know.
So, like, a whole... And then next time we see them, it's, like, in the AM or something, right? So what happened to Brock?
Oh, man.
I have to assume he just lied there unconscious.
You guys know of any crazy fan fiction out there? You maybe even write your own. Let us know in the comment section below, and we'll take a look at it.
This one sucked. If Mr. Mime wasn't in it,
it's really bad.
Like,
it would be useless without Mr. Mime.
They could have replaced Mr. Mime with like a gimp, and then changed some of the names, and it has nothing to do with Pokemon at all.
Yeah. Hell, Mr. Mime, like, just comes out of nowhere. It could have been Brock. It would have made more sense if it was Brock.
Yeah.
Because he wakes up after, like, being beat up, goes, finds it, and, like, beats the shit out of Ash.
Yeah.
That would have made more sense.
Mm-hmm. Also, Mr. Mime as a love slave. Interesting choice.
Well, he doesn't say anything, except for Mr. Mime, apparently.
Well, it's really weird, too. It's like, he has these, like, complex human-like thoughts and thought patterns.
I know, I was looking at that.
He can't express them. He can only say Mr. Mime.
Mr. Mime! How does he read somebody else's journal? Is he literate?
Yeah. So what?
That's what got me. I was like, how is he literate?
His vocal cords will only allow him to say Mr. Mime, but he can read and think like in English. Yeah. So could he just like write down?
I don't know.
Could he write like the?
Could he mime it?
Sure.
Why? He's just like, why doesn't he mime the murder, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh man.
Why didn't he take the diary to the police?
Well, I didn't know a lot of things happened in this. This is
Why didn't they leave the house after killing Ash's mom?
Yeah, why don't they leave right away? Why did they decide to spend another night in the death house? And corpse rotting and everything.
I know, because, like, okay, he said, like, when the police find her.
Yeah.
So when were they planning on leaving? Because, like, they just live in the house, and then maybe the police show up, like, a week later, because they still haven't left for Cerulean City, and the police are like, how could you not smell this? The whole stink smells like a corpse. There's maggots everywhere. What? Like, oh, I couldn't, my sadness.
I just thought somebody took a wicked dump.
Yeah. I didn't like this one.
No.
It didn't get good until Mr. Mime showed up, and even then, it was only kind of good.
So.
It's really just good because all he says is Mr. Mime.
Mime! Mr. Mime!
That's like if you're reading like Sherlock Holmes, and like the only thing Sherlock can say is his name. So it's just like, oh, this is really long-winded. Okay.
Holmes. Sherlock Holmes. Holmes. Sherlock Holmes. See you later, buddies.
Whole city called Busted Town. Bust It Town. Sounds fun, said Brock. This is a nice little town, said Dawn while looking around. I don't know. Something just does not feel right about this place, said Ash with a worry on his face. There's nothing to worry about, Brock said. Be a man, Ash. Be a man. Do the right thing.
Be a man.
Be a man. I am a man, Ash said. As soon as he said that, a hooker walked up. Hey there, the hooker said. Hey there yourself, Brock said, looking at the hooker.
Oh.
The hooker was dressed like a Nurse Joy, but you can tell she was not a Nurse Joy. Right, yeah, you probably can. They all look the same.
I love that people are saying the or